This video is intended to give you a little information about the combined MS DI program at UTMB Galveston. Just for a little history about UTMB generally, we are the home of the oldest medical school in Texas, and we were established in 1891. We are part of the University of Texas, or UT system. We are an academic health science center, and we contain 4 schools, including the original School of Medicine, the School of Nursing, the Graduate School of Biomedical Sciences, and the School of Health Professions, which is where the MSDI program is housed. We have 7 faculty in the Department of Nutrition and Metabolism. Some of us are more involved in the dietetics program, and some of us are more involved in research. First, we have Dr. Doug Patton-Jones. He is a scientist in the department who studies bed rest in older adults. This is Shay Robertson. She is faculty in the department involved with the dietetics program, and she also practices in early childhood intervention at UTMB. This is Dr. Liz Lyons. She investigates physical activity apps and devices like Fitbit. This is Dr. Christopher Fry. He looks at muscle stem cells and how those change with aging. This is our fearless leader, Dr. Blake Rasmussen, and he is the chair of our department and also studies protein metabolism. This is Drusilla Rosales. She came to us recently from California, and she has lots of community nutrition experience and is also teaching in the dietetics program here. And this is me, Dr. Jean Gutierrez. I am the program director for the MSDI program. We have many fantastic preceptors at UTMB, and we're very fortunate that we have many clinics and a couple of hospitals to draw from for our students in the internship program. So here's just some examples. This is Sukwan Jolly. She is our bariatric dietitian, so she works full-time in the bariatric clinic along with another person, dietitian who also works there. This is Lynn Maroof. She's our full-time diabetes educator at the Stark Diabetes Clinic at UTMB. This is Blair Brown. She's a full-time inpatient transplant dietitian at UTMB. We do kidney and pancreas, among other transplants here. She has a outpatient counterpart who also our interns also spend time with. And this is Chris Messenger. He's our clinical nutrition manager in acute care. And there are many other preceptors at UTMB, but here are just a few faces. If you're not familiar with Galveston, we are located in the Gulf of Mexico near Houston. So we are about an hour southeast of Houston on our own little long skinny island. So it looks like this. UTMB is on the east end of the island, and it takes about 10 minutes once you get over the Causeway Bridge to get to UTMB. So we do have a big tourist industry and a big long beach, and we're pretty close to the city of Houston. Here's our major admin building. We like to show it because it looks nice. Here is our primary hospital. We're actually in the process of building a second hospital. So this is John Seeley. This is where our students are rotating now, but in future years we'll also have Jenny Seeley Hospital on campus. This is our medical library. It's one of the major advantages of doing your internship in combination with a master's program, and especially at an academic health science center. We have fantastic library resources, and especially medical library resources here. This is a School of Health Professions building. This is where we have all of our classroom courses and where the faculty, most of the faculty have their offices. We are a newer MSDI program. So right now we're recruiting for our 3rd MSDI class, but our 4th DI cohort. Our first group was just a DI only. So we have our 2nd class going through the program right now, and we just graduated our 1st MSDI class. So we are currently recruiting students to match for spring 2016. So that would be the DICAS application that's due in February 2016. Those students will matriculate in late August of 2016 for the fall semester. and graduate in December of 2017. At the moment, we have had one site visit with Ascend, which is the credentialing agency, but we are a new program, so we're in the candidacy for accreditation stage. This has no impact on our students. You get the same verification statement as everyone else, but you should understand that we are a newer program. We have our next site visit in May of 2016, so after that, we would just have regular accreditation. Our MSDI program is a 15-month program and it is 4 continuous semesters. We have 15 slots each year and we seek to fill these slots in first round match. We do not have any program on campus that we take interns from, so we are looking for the best 15 applicants from the DICAS in the first round. The first 2 semesters are primarily coursework, so that's the fall and the spring semester. So students start in the fall, continue through to the spring. That's primarily coursework, but students do start one internship rotation in that spring semester. The final 2 semesters are primarily internship rotations in the summer and second fall semester. For the next few slides, I will just walk you through our MSDI degree plan. In the first semester, students take 4 courses on campus. And the first is kind of a evidence-based and research course. The second is advanced nutrition and metabolism. I teach that. The next is kind of a pediatric-focused life cycle course. Shay Robertson teaches that. And then we have an online ethics in clinical nutrition course where you take city training for research and learn about the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics ethical standards. In the second or spring semester of the first year, students take 4 courses and also start with their first internship rotation. So these courses are Advanced MNT, which is taught by Shay Robertson and the Clinical Nutrition Manager, Chris Messenger. A weight control course, which is taught by Dr. Liz Lyons and Drusilla Rosales. A sports nutrition course and a seminar course. Here at UTMB, we do give credit, academic credit for the internship rotations. This allows us to have it as part of the master's program, allows us to charge the internship fee as tuition, and allows people with GI Bill benefits to do the internship with those benefits. So approximately 60 hours at a rotation site is equivalent to 1 credit of academic credit in addition to the projects and other assignments you have for that internship course. In the final semester, students will complete more internship rotations, whichever ones they didn't complete in the previous spring and summer. And we will also have 1 academic course, which is a single credit, preparing students with resume building, interview skills, and RD exam preparation. We also do RD exam preparation throughout the internship. And students graduate in December, which is the end of the second fall semester. For Clinical 1, the first clinical rotation, which lasts 6 weeks, most students will rotate with UTMB dietitians at the UTMB Galveston campus, but some students may rotate through an affiliated site like Houston San Jacinto Methodist Hospital or Memorial Hermann Southeast Hospital. This is dependent partially on timing and where the student is staying. The second clinical set of rotations at UTMB are specialty rotations, and students typically complete 2 that are 3 weeks long each. Some of our students do rotate outside of UTMB, and those are more likely to be 4 to 6 weeks for those rotations. We have a full-time dietitian dedicated to working with patients who have inborn errors of nutrient metabolism. So students get to go through that clinic. We have a transplant program here and 2 full-time dietitians dedicated to that program. We also have a bariatric surgery program, so we have a full-time dietitian plus another half who work with that program. So our students really enjoy that rotation. Some additional Clinical 2 opportunities are in renal. We have 2 dietitians dedicated to the renal program. We also have a full-time dietitian dedicated to diabetes education in the Stark Diabetes Clinic. We also have a specialty pediatric services rotation where the dietitian sees children with severe nutrition complications, usually in failure to thrive or severe GI abnormalities. We do offer a few offsite rotations for Clinical 2 as well. These are not likely to last 3 weeks. They're usually a little longer. So we have 2 rotations through Texas Children's Hospital, which is in the big Houston Medical Center and is a 5-week rotation. Some students also continue to rotate in Clinical 2 where they were in Clinical 1. This is especially if they don't live off the island. This is most likely to happen. We also are continually developing new affiliations all the time, so this list will grow. For our research rotations, we have several opportunities in the departments. Liz Lyons, you could work with her in the activity app research. You could have the opportunity to do some basic science with Chris Fry. He works with rodents and in the biochemistry lab. And so if you like to pipette and biochemistry, that'd be a great rotation. We have some postdoctoral scientists we work with who are funded by the Center on Aging, and they do nutrition work with our geriatric hospital patients. And then about a third of our students also go to NASA, Nutritional Biochemistry Lab. So that's an exciting opportunity to go do a research rotation at NASA. For our community rotations, we have several WIC sites that are UTMB WIC sites, so many of our students go there in the greater Houston area. We have the Houston Food Bank, which is just an amazing place. They have 650 partner organizations that help distribute food to people in need, and nearly 40% of the food they distribute is fresh produce, so it's a fantastic, huge operation. It's a really cool opportunity. We have the UTMB Field House, which is like UTMB Employee Wellness, the Galveston County AgriLife Extension, and then also the UTMB Osher Lifelong Learning Institute, where older adults can come and learn about different topics. So those are some of our community rotations, and we're always building new community rotations. So this list would be a little bit extended by the time the class of 2017 gets here as well. In food service, we have 6 weeks total. Students spend 3 weeks in hospital food service and 3 weeks in school food service, so they get exposed to both. We have a bunch of hospital food services that are within 50 minutes or so of the islands. Many of the students rotate through UTMB and Shriners Hospital for Children, which is actually on the UTMB campus in Galveston, and we have some great sites that are off the island as well. We also have our students spend 3 weeks in school food service, so many of our students do rotate through Galveston or Dickinson, which is very close by, Clear Creek, or Houston. And Houston is a massive school district, so they have their own production facility for like baking bread and stuff. It's crazy, but very interesting. So as far as costs, I think we do pretty well keeping our costs down, especially for the in-state students. So this covers all the tuition and fees for the MS courses and the DI. So there's no separate like internship fee or anything like that. I've based this on the 2015 to 16 fee schedule. So if you're a Texas resident, you're paying just under 14,000. For a non-resident, it's closer to 31,000, which is obviously significantly more than the Texas residents, but still not bad for a master's degree in a DI. If you plan to live in Galveston in a decent livable apartment by yourself, it'll be about $800 a month for the rent and utilities combined. That's an approximation. If you want to room with other students, that's a good way to save money. So after notification day, I connect students to each other right away, and many of the students choose to live together. Last year, some of the current interns or the graduating interns passed on their condo to incoming students, so I'll connect you all to each other so you can figure that out if you want to save some money that way. We do have several smaller fees like the background check that's required before matriculation. I don't require the School of Health Professions application until after notification day, so you only have to pay that fee if you match to UTMB. It's not another round of evaluation, it's just to spare the fee on the front end. Some of our sites require drug testing, so if that's the case, then you'll need to pay for that. You will need a reliable car for rotations. There are many sites that are on the island, but many even of our own UTMB clinics are, 30, 40 minutes away up I-45, so you need a car. For scholarships, we have three different kinds. We have those that are housed in our department that we decide on. We have one full scholarship for the first year, so 3 of 4 semesters for tuition and fees. That's a very good scholarship. We have one out-of-state waiver, so if you're, applying from where I'm from, New York or something, there's a chance that you could get the in-state rate for the first year, which would save a lot of money. And then 4 smaller scholarships within the department that are around 1,000 or a little less, so it's just a little bit of extra money to distribute. We also have a School of Health Professions committee that has scholarships that you can apply for directly, and then you're competing against all the other programs and students in our school. And we do have a lot of very competitive programs, but you can still apply. And then we have faculty nominated scholarships. So that is a case where a faculty, has to nominate you, and you won't hear about it unless you get it. So for that one Dean scholarship that covers tuition and fees for the first year, the strongest candidates have a 3.7 or higher. That's typical. If you have research experience and especially publication, that's a big boost in your application. If you have work, like real work and volunteer experience in nutrition, that also helps. Just having a great attitude, the way it comes across in your written statement and in your interview. We do Skype interviews first, so just having a positive attitude during that interview. Having great oral and written communication skills is definitely important as well. Whether you're a Texas resident or not, you're eligible for this scholarship. So that we use the DICAS to match. So we don't require any other application or requirement other than the GRE to apply to UTMB for a match. From our DICAS applications, we had a little over 50 last year, but we were only in our second year with the MSDI program. I have no idea what it's going to look like this year, but we will take about 25 to 30 of those applicants and invite them for a Skype interview. So if you apply and don't get called for a Skype interview, you would probably want to re-rank us lower. But if you get a Skype interview, that's a good sign. We have 15 slots, and we like to fill all 15 slots in the first round of match. So we don't want to deal with post-match. We want to select students who choose UTMB in the first round. So to repeat, there are no supplemental applications. You do not need to complete the School of Health Professions application before notification day. Some traits we seek in our candidates are nutrition or work-related experience. So it could be volunteer experience or paid experience that is nutrition related or research related. For those of you who haven't matched in the past, the DTR experience or something similar to a diet tech in a hospital is highly valued. DPD GPA of 3.5 or higher is considered strong, anything at a 3.0 or higher is considered. If your DPD GPA is less than 3.0, your application would not be considered. We consider within each category a 50th percentile and higher GRE score to be good. Above the 80th percentile is excellent and very strong. We do still look at applications and have matched to applicants who get less than the 50th percentile in a category on the GRE, but to have like a good score, you would need to be in the 50th percentile or higher. In the personal statement, you should explain why you want to come to UTMB. I am less interested in why you want to be a dietitian. Sometimes it's a really important thing you want to share, and that's okay. But what's most important to me is why UTMB appeals to you. What is it about our program? How do you think it's going to help you in your career? How are you a good fit for us? Detail that in your personal statement to us. We want to know about that. If there's any of these specific rotations that you found particularly interesting in this video, feel free to include those in your personal statement. Or if you communicate with me or come to campus, you should mention that in your personal statement. That way we know that you've put in advanced effort, which is always valued. Overall, just having a positive attitude in the Skype interview is a very good thing. Obviously, we want you to be articulate. We want you to be happy. We want you to look like you'd be fun to have in the program and, good student and everything. So some barriers to matching UTMB. Having minimal or no work experience in the areas I described would be a deterrent. If your GPA was less than 3.0, your DPD GPA is less than 3.0, we would not consider application. If you had several low science grades that were a C or lower, that would be a reason to be excluded. Not one C in chemistry, but a pattern of low science scores across the board. Having poor written or oral communication skills, a lack of knowledge about what dietitians do, or just basic nutrition information. In a Skype interview, we won't get into like super hardcore TPN or anything, but we will ask a basic nutrition question. We would expect you to know the answer. Having an apathetic or negative attitude in the Skype interview is a bad thing. I think a lot of times this is driven by nervousness, but do your best to put on a smile, especially because it's Skype and we'll be able to see you. Having brief or non-specific letters or even negative letters are things I've all seen, and those do not show you in a favorable light. So be careful with who you ask. Make sure that person will write something positive, and pick someone who really knows you well and will be able to speak to your potential as a dietitian. So a work supervisor is great. If you work in a hospital, even volunteering, and there's a dietitian who can write you a recommendation, that's great too. In your personal statement, naming another program or demonstrating a lack of knowledge about our program would be a negative thing. So in terms of scoring the diecast, this is how we did it last year. I can't promise we'll do it exactly the same way, but this is just to give you an indication of some of the things we value. We are in South Texas, so we really value fluency in Spanish. Several of our sites are difficult to send students to if they don't speak Spanish. So it's not a requirement by any means, but it's a bonus. Having a GRE that's in the 50th percentile or higher, as I mentioned, is a good thing. Your DPD, GPA, and we have different categories. So basically anything higher than a 3.7 doesn't get you any additional points. It must be, at least a 3.0. Having a science GPA that's higher is a good thing. Having related work or volunteer experience. Last year we made a 500-hour minimum requirement to have it really count. It may or may not be the same this year. Having a personal statement that really articulates why you want to be here, more so than I believe you want to be a dietitian because you've gone through this whole educational process and now you're applying to internships. So I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for why UTMB specifically. Your letters of recommendation should speak to your strengths, and the more they align with our kind of program emphases of research and clinical, the better. And we do have this kind of more vague category for factors that are not on the form. So a good example might be something like military experience, where we might view it positively, but it's not, there's no place on the diecast for that. So in the event that students successfully match to UTMB on notification day, they must confirm their acceptance of the match via email to the program director immediately. So, if you want to send it at midnight or 6 p.m. or whenever you find out, that is fantastic. I like seeing those emails right away. Uh, at that point, you're required to complete the UTMB School of Health Professions application. So you'll pay the fee, fill out the application. I am the one who manually accepts you to the program, so I do that as soon as I see your application. So it has to process through enrollment services for a day or two, but once I see that, I accept it right away. So to reiterate, that's not to reevaluate you. We're not even going to look at it. It's really just to, have a place to store your transcripts. It's official for the university and formally accept you to the graduate program. So if you have any additional questions, feel free to contact me by email or phone. I'm happy to set up a time to talk with you or Skype. Um, Thank you for your interest in our program, and we look forward to seeing your application.